Good hello and welcome to the Onion Skin Show, the first episode. This is a live stream show you can get to in the link in the description, which I'm hoping to have on every Friday afternoon at 1 p.m. Sydney, Melbourne, Australia time. It's going to be quite an organic thing, especially for these first few episodes while we find our feet and see what will be the most entertaining kind of thing to do together. But I'm expecting it to be everything from helping you with animation queries to live challenges. Almost a condensed live version of the other sorts of things you see on this channel. You never know what's going to come up. I never know what's going to come up. It's something we shall discover together. Welcome once again to the Onion Skin Show. I have this little not animated puppet thing of the main Onion logo. It's appeared in a couple of videos where it just sort of jumps from pose to pose. What I've always wanted to do, however, is to get something that is fully animated, like this. There's some transparency going on, but see that? How it's able to turn. So I want to be able to make a whole bunch of different poses that have the same level of quality as the still, and then can be animated from any pose to any pose and drag and dropped to be able to put videos together fairly quickly. Now, I haven't opened up this file in probably a good couple of months, so I'm probably going to need to spend a while remembering what the heck it is. Now, this part here is all of the contours, all of the lines that go down the middle of the body that twist around like that, so it creates the illusion that he's spinning. Nodes are layers, but they are spread out in 2 dimensions. So layers are 1-dimensional because they're just a list, right? But rather than just being in a list, it's as if you spread them all out on a table. Like this. So every single box is simply a layer. Blue ones are drawings. Green ones are, if you use Toon Boom, they're pegs. If you use Flash, they're symbols. So they are a way of grouping everything together. So if you're from an Animate CC background, right? What you're looking at here is a visual representation of the symbol hierarchy. There's the tear thing, there's the pupil, and there's the eye. But because they're all grouped together in this, it means I can move the entire left eye about. And if I go to the eyes peg, then I can move both eyes around. So you can string it all together in all sorts of different ways to pretty much create whatever you imagine. The advantage of having the pegs existing separate from the drawings is that you can have the layer order be independent of grouping. The order that they are plugged in represents their layer order. The further they are to the left, the higher they are in the list. The further to the right, the lower they are in the list. If I was to reorder this string, it's now on top. Just watch this. You see that? The eye is going behind, the left eye is going behind the right eye, but the pupil and the tear is on top of it because they're grouped separately from their layer order. So in trying to remind myself what the heck this file is, I can get independent displays, and a display will let me look at whatever that string goes to. That's the contours from before that just sort of do this. They only move to the left ever so slightly, but it should be able to make the illusion of rotation. And if I can try and figure out a way to keep that going, like if they move to the right in such a way that they end up perfectly matching where they were before, then all I should need to do is copy and paste those set of frames and it will just be continually spinning. That'll be fun. Is there a hierarchy limit? No. No, you can make this go as deep as you want. The most complicated one of these networks that I've ever built was probably pushing 2,000 to 3,000 nodes. It almost starts to become to the point of almost being like a little app. Like I give them control panels and engines and things like that. The nodes are my favorite part of Toon Boom. It's a shame that I haven't really been able to dive really deeply into it on the channel yet because it's a fairly deep thing. There's been more important stuff to talk about first, which is in a lot more demand. Oh wait, are you talking about the Read Between Frames show? I've really been enjoying that too, but I don't want it to take away from the regular tutorial lessons, which it shouldn't. They don't take a whole while to make. The issue has been paid work, because Onion Skin it's not profitable, it's more of a hobby thing. So in order to keep the bills paid and the rent paid, I have to take on other animation work, and that's where the time really, really gets sunken. Because everyone has the artists that they look up to and admire, and a common trend is that you only ever see the very best of those artists' work. And it can, although it's inspiring, it can be a bit disheartening at times, because it feels like they're just these unstoppable forces of creativity. How are you supposed to follow in that? and you ask them about it, and so often people say, oh, everyone has mistakes, everyone has setbacks, you have to go through 1,000 terrible drawings before you get to a good one. And I'm just sitting there thinking, well, where are your 1,000 bad ones? I've never seen a bad one from you before. So it's taken, that's the other thing that holds back Creative Journal, is just the anxiety of deliberately putting out something that I'm not happy with. But that's kind of the point, to be able to show a failed practice, to show an exercise that didn't go according to plan, because it's a lot more real. A friend of mine, about a year and a half ago, every morning he would play games before work started. And one day he said, this is a lot of time that could be spent drawing. So he stopped playing games in the morning and decided to just spend an hour or so drawing every day. And every day he would just post it up on Facebook. And over the course of about 8 months or so, the level of improvement that could be seen was nuts. It was so fast, and there was no reason why the rest of us couldn't be doing that. It's the amount of time that everyone has. It was a real good motivator. Okay, 1 good tutorial a month is better than 4 crappy ones. I did a bone rigging tutorial the other day, and I compared that a lot to about a year ago when I did a cutout animation tutorial. And that one was probably like 8 to 10 videos of 10 minutes each, spread across like a couple of months. And the same amount of information was packed into one video, this bone tutorials one, which goes for about 15 minutes. So I'd much rather be doing that. Love the Super Saiyan Blast, thought it was great. Thank you, I really appreciate that. I want to do a lot more of those as well, where the software isn't the point. It's just more of an animation tutorial rather than a software tutorial. I think it's important that we remember that animation is fun. I get a lot of people coming up and feeling intimidated by Toon Boom because they feel like they need to learn how to use the entire program before they're allowed to start animating. And that's simply not true. You have a timeline, you have a brush, that's all you need. Yeah, okay, so that's what I did. That makes sense. So this rotation on its own, one goal I really want to have is to have a modular plug-in animation of just those things rotating, so I can create a spinny character whenever I want without spending 1,000 years on it. So here's a fun trick. People from a Flash background, one thing they really like about symbols, and I agree, is how they auto-loop. Toon Boom does not auto-loop. Fortunately, there's a paste cycle option here, and then you punch in how many times you want it to loop, and then it just sort of does it. So 10. There we go. Okay, I think that's working. It's not great. Clearly jumpy when it does loop. That looks gross. But like, there's such a dramatic leap. What the heck was I thinking? I mean, an extra one appears on the left. I need to build a working engine. So I'll take all the contours down to there, and also send just the body down to there as well. And the body has a transparency going through it, so it's more of just a frame of reference. Pop display number 4 into it, and now we get this. Move in. I'll take these 3, duplicate them. Oops, no, I don't want that. Keep choosing the wrong option because of the stream lag. Duplicate them, they'll go up here, get plugged into the rest of the contraption. And I think, yes, that one is on the far left. So if I take these 2 dark green boxes, these are bones, so I can access their controls. So the way that these were animated have a curve deformer going through them. So they're literally just a straight vector, which I bent around using those. And they all meet at the same point here, and they all meet at the same point up here. Only in their vector art, I made them get so thin that they reach a thickness level of 0 at about here, although their information continues up for a little while further. So now this one's starting point needs to exist off the edge, then it comes in over the course of the rotation. And it needs to do so in such a way that it perfectly lines up. They are potentially done. Hey, I think it's working. I'll put it on the actual character. Oh yeah! Rotating onion character! I made one of a cat farting for my kids and it was horrible. Can I see it? I've been talking so much about the stuff that I do. I want to hear about what you guys do. Also, I'm not accepting you saying that you have an absolutely horrible animation, because if I'm going to go through the thing where I'm deliberately uploading my deliberately bad stuff, then I'm not going to judge you on it. I just make animations, just spent 6 months working on one, and released it finally last week. Very proud, but it's not as good as I think it is. Can I see it anyway? So what was this made with? What was your technique? That's cool. Something about this is familiar. There's no way I've seen it before. Surely. Unless you've linked it to me. Hang on. I have seen this. I saw this recently. As in, like, this week recently, I think. That could be it. I do follow Jesse J. Jones. I definitely haven't seen it all the way through, but that character with the floaty teeth, I definitely recognize. I asked because I went to a screening for some student films for a local uni, and I was thinking if you were one of those guys, then that would have just been such a mind blow. That's so cool that I had seen it though. I love how interconnected our community, the industry is, that people can be known or recognize each other so easily. I like to describe it as a small country town where everyone knows each other. Man, that was really good. There's a lot of frame by frame going on in there. All the character designs are super distinct. That's hard to do. Just admiring those run cycles too. Particularly, one that really got me was this guy at the start. A few ways that it could have been done, but I can't put my finger on it. But one thing I noticed... Okay, no, it happens there. Like, is the top half of his head meant to go behind the front row of teeth? Because it happens on that one. But later on in the film, it... Okay. Yeah, so it seems like it goes fully behind or fully in front. Yeah, so how like they're fully in front there. But the way the nodes would allow you to string up a character like this is kind of fun. It's gonna have the back jaw, the front jaw, and the top. Okay, you can see where this is going. I'll put that in a peg slot between the layers like that. But because all three get put together like that, then you can still move the whole thing. Even though the body could get grouped together like this. Across, a little bit up, down. Oh, jeez. Mark those up. Okay, so what I'm using here is control points. These are a way of being able to influence the curve of a movement without changing its timing. I've got a video about that called Parameters and Functions. It's a really long one. It goes into a lot of really fundamental things about Toon Boom. Its view count's really low though, because I think it's just not that applicable to as many people. But it's a video series that sort of needs to exist, so I need to do more, but I'm trying to find the right time for it because, like I say, it's such a niche. I'm sorry, I'm totally butchering your character, but I'm loving it. If I took this and had the audacity to have it do these ones, like an old Muppet. So arc around like that, right? Oh no, did it crash? Oh, it crashed! Oh no! I don't know what to say. I don't even know if I was saving. Oh, you're kidding. Toon Boom! You don't crash often, but when you do, you just vanish. Suddenly. Oh. Cool. Thanks, guys. That was a lot of fun. I'll pull it up again. Let's see how far I got. If it's if it's worth completing. Oh, hang on. Oh. Did I press save just before it died? Yes! This cluster, although it's floating in space completely separately, you know, it's sort of like having a completely new file within the same file. So when I go export, I need to change its display to display 5. So now it's going to render whatever that sees. But yeah, I think that's a good place to leave it. Thanks for coming along. Alright, thanks again. Hopefully I'll see you next week. Help spread the word. Hopefully we can get a bit of a bigger crowd, but the smaller ones are definitely fun as well. Feels a lot more friendly. Bye!